Listen, when I'm saying family, I'm not always talking blood, cause blood can be confused for unconditional love, but I digress. And don't worry, cause the real one's getting checks. I just know we all connected, so they lie to keep us separate. I'm not saying everybody gotta be on the same wave I'm on and doing the same things I do, but when the same person is having the same problems, like, okay, don't change. You don't want to change. You know, you want to keep doing what you're doing, but then you complain about this. You have these problems. You're not happy. You sad. This, that, and other. But you still don't want to change.
But at the same time, I didn't choose my family.
No, you didn't.
You know what I mean? I did not choose my family. I was born into my family.
Most families are what I call fractured, distant, and it generally, a lot of times it's over just small stuff that people just have not forgiven. You know, you didn't call me on my birthday, just petty stuff. I mean, you know.
People had an experience where you've been in a big house, or if you're in that house for however long, a week, it'll get, like, it means nothing after so long, because you're there alone. Like, when you have all that money and material, what is it without if you don't have nobody to share it with?
When you're trying to be family, you're recovering from a whole lot of things inside that family. Things that were there before you even were born into the family. And so you're trying to make up for things that people have not even resolved themselves. So I have an older brother, and he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. And when he was actually put into a psychiatric hospital, it made him worse than what he was when he went in. People just didn't allow family members just to do whatever they wanted to do. People just held you accountable. You're just not going to just go around just acting crazy and just nobody ain't going to say anything. I mean, somebody gonna try to check you in one way or another. But by the time you meet some of these family members, they've been unchecked for so long, and the next thing you know, you can't talk with them.
If you all watching this and you have any questions, y'all should put it in the comments, and maybe next time we get him on here, we can go through the questions y'all asked and let him know.
Hello world, how everybody doing out there? Welcome to another episode of Generational Health and Self-Love. I'm your host, Life.
Ron Easy.
And today we got a special guest in the house. You've seen him before, but he's back because the last episode went so good. We just thought it'd be good to have him back on the show. So, you want to introduce him this time?
Well, guys, the special guest is none other than Dr. Michael Cook. Can you please
Thank you.
Hey.
So, like we were saying, he's been a guest before, and we had such a good time last episode. We thought it was only right to bring him back and talk today about a very big topic that we think that is something that everybody is dealing with in this time. We're talking about family and why are families so distant. So that's the topic of the day. We're going to hit it, and hopefully our viewers out there, you'll find something that helps you in your situation if you are going through similar situations that we discussed today. So, Ronese, you want to say something to him before we jump into it?
Yeah, I definitely think this is something, like you said, a lot of people might be dealing with, because we all got family, and not everybody is close with their family. Not everybody has the perfect situation with them. We all go through different times with our family, but, I think it's good to talk about this so we can all realize, come back together and establish a better basis with our own family.
Yes, sir. So, for the ones who don't know, could you reintroduce yourself, please?
Yeah, my name is Michael Cook, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And what I do with that is that I do counseling with individuals, families, couples, groups. And what I try to do is I try to talk to people about learning how to grow up in relationships, taking responsibility for their own actions so that they can improve the relationships with the people that they are in relationships with. Most people don't realize that being a black man as a licensed marriage and family therapist is a very rare thing. It's only about 20 black male therapists, marriage and family therapists in the state of Georgia. And so I've been at this for a while, and just love what I do, and glad to be back on the show. Just this show itself is a great expression of family. You got a father and a son duo. You don't see that often, building powerful things, leaving powerful messages, and I'm just happy to be here.
Well, we definitely appreciate you, and we're glad to have you back on the show. So I just want to jump into it because I feel like this topic here is something that we can talk about on and on and on again. So like I said in the beginning, the topic is, why are families so distant? And I just want to say, from my point of view, one of the things that I see that we're missing that's been kind of extinct in our families nowadays is the big mama, the grandmas, either side of the family. Back in the day, you used to say big mamas, but that was one person that we looked up to in all our families. This was the one person that could bring the family together, whether they were fighting, whether they wasn't getting along, whatever was going on. When it was time to go over to Big Mama's house, all that was over with. You sat down, you had manners, you was very respectable, and I feel like that's something that's lacking within our community, within our families. Mm-hmm. We don't have that matriarch of the family that we all can go to in our time of need. And I don't mean financial time of need. I mean just mental time of need, when you just need somebody to talk to and somebody just reassure you that things were going to be all right. And I feel like we're lacking that. So that's something I feel like is a big part of why families are distant. Anyone you guys want to speak on that?
I would like to say that, when you had first brought up the big mama situation, at first I was like, I didn't really understand it because, I'm younger, and I know you said that was something they more had in, back in the day. But I also do remember, like even in the movies, they used to put it in movies like when they go in, black movies, or however you want to say it. When they would have cookouts or barbecues, there'll always be that one older woman or the grandma who would always say something or talk, or everybody would kind of look towards for, like, she would pray before everybody ate, or she would just have, like, say some type of speech. So I definitely do see how you would correlate that with the lack of that, breaking families apart. And I also do want to add that my grandma, she, like, having her in the family or still be around is very, like, powerful. Like, when we like get together, it's usually for her. We try to get her involved a lot of stuff and a lot of things, even though she might not be doing as well. We try to spend as much time with her while she is, and that helps us come together.
Oh, definitely.
So I definitely do think that's important.
I think you're right on the money with that too, and I think part of the big challenge that we have, part of the reason why we don't have big mamas anymore, or at least a lack of big mamas, is because most grandmothers are probably under the age of 40. For the majority of grandmothers, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of grandmothers under the age of 40. Back in the day, grandmothers used to be 60, 65, 70. That means that they've lived, they've retired, they have seen life, and they could express that wisdom down the line. And I think part of the deal is that the big mama obviously held the family together. Just like you said, that when something was going on, you could always turn to big mama and she'd be able to talk with you and kind of help you work that out. But it's very, very difficult to, get a 32-year-old person who trying to make it on their own and trying to talk to them about real life stuff. And that's a very, very difficult thing to do. And I think the other thing I would say about that too is part of the deal was that when Big Mama used to be sort of like the center of the family, people didn't have this idea that they had to do it all on their own. People had the mentality, hey, look, we're a family, we're going to work this out together. But now people actually turn away from the family to try to figure out their problems rather than leaning on the family to help them and support them.
Oh, yeah, that's something that just when you said that, it made me think about different situations. Like, that is so like natural now, which it shouldn't be, that we turn away from the family instead of to the family. Because nowadays it's hard to speak to certain family members because either they're just in their own zone, or they kind of feel like, well, you can't really speak, you can't even talk to their children, discipline children anymore, because that becomes a problem. Even within the family, if you're an elder, if you're an uncle, or you're an auntie, and you see your nephew or your niece doing something they shouldn't be doing, you should be able to discipline them, no matter what. You should be able to discipline them. Nowadays, if you try to do that, it's going to be somebody upset, somebody angry. Well, why you do this? Why you didn't call me first? Well, I didn't think to call you. I thought what any real adult should do, whether they're family or not, was to chastise, to discipline this child on the spot. Because it was times, I know when I was younger, even leaving the house, once you leave the house now, you feel like you got freedom. But back in the day, it wasn't like that, because Miss Jones or Mr. Williams or anybody would see you. So even when you left the house, you were still being disciplined outside of the home because you couldn't do nothing and not get away with it because someone would always see you.
Yeah.
And they would tell you, or they would stop you right then and there and tell you, hey, look, if you do that again, I'm going to whoop your butt and I'm going to take you home and then your mama or your daddy going to whoop your butt too.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can't even do that, even within the family. And I feel like what has happened to cause this split within the family to where you can't even discipline the child anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it is a very, very strong thing. I mean, and I think part of it is the family in so many different ways reflects society.
Yeah.
And society says that you can't discipline children in the same way that, you maybe disciplined back in the day. Yeah. I know when I went to school, I was talking to somebody about this just a couple of days ago. You could get paddled when you were in the 12th grade. I mean, you wouldn't be beyond getting 3 licks. I mean, if you misbehave in school, even up until high school.
Yeah.
But if you try to go and paddle some kid today, you're gonna have some lawsuits and an army sitting at in your front yard,
Yeah.
And I think part of the deal is that there are people in society that know that if you bust up the family, that you can sell people and do all kind of things to people, and have no real repercussions of that.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's been like certain things that's just in society that have gotten into the families and like kind of got them to be distant with each other. Because, I mean, like you said, once when people are dismantled or just unorganized, or it's easy to get them to do certain things. So a family that's not together is easier to sell to than a family that's strong and connected with each other because they can communicate with each other to do certain things or whatnot. But when you feel like, when everybody feels like they got to do it on their own, that's just more money for anybody who's trying to sell, because now they won't go to this person or that person. They'll go to somewhere they got to spend their money and benefit somebody else.
Oh yeah,
because that's a lack of unity within the family. Because I know, like with us, we have a big family. So with having such a big family, you would think that family would come together and try to run their own business, come together and put their money together. Okay, well, I got 5,000, I got 2,000, I got 10,000. Well, we come up with 45, 50,000. We have a game plan. Well, if we need this amount of money to do these things, to invest in this property, to invest in this restaurant, whatever the business may be, we don't have that. It's like we out for self. Well, yeah, I'm gonna just do as much as I can for me and my family, and if they don't get it, then so what? It's like we got younger kids, they're watching us. We got cousins who need to be around their family, who need to know who their family are. Because even though you have my generation, we might have some distance in between us. That don't mean keep the children distance from each other neither. All my nephew, all my nieces, they all know me. Even my great nephews and nieces, they know me. And he can attest to that. Like, they know me. They love me because
they got so many different names.
But I communicate with them. I call them. I tell my son, I say, hey, this your cousin such and such. Do you remember your cousin? Do you remember this person? I always let them know who family are, because it's very important to me. Because anything can happen to me. And it's good to know you have family, not only in state, out of state, here, there, and wherever. You need to know who your family are as you grow and you go on through life, just for your children's for your children to know that as well.
Another thing is, how do you deal with family that might not exactly align with what you do or what you talk about? Because if we're different in a certain way, I won't go to you to ask for advice if I know you're this type of person or you're that type of person. So I know a lot of people have family members that just sometimes are crazy. You got crazy uncles and crazy aunts sometimes.
Oh, yes.
And you're not gonna go ask, or you just won't be as close with them because how different y'all are. Even cousins or people like I feel like we're so like distant with each other because how different we might be in our own lives. Because I won't go ask for advice on somebody I know that's out here doing crazy stuff as well. So it's like, how do you handle, how do you get close with family members that are like not crazy, but they do stuff that you wouldn't want your kids to be around or something like that? Because at that point, it's like, what am I going to talk to you for, or hang out with you, or like, I'm not saying that you can't, but it's just how to working your way around that. How do you do that? Because how can you help?
I mean, I think partly, I think you make a very, very good point, because one thing I think that was probably pretty strong, certainly when I grew up, and certainly a little bit before I grew up and all that kind of stuff, is that people just didn't allow family members just to do whatever they wanted to do. People just held you accountable. You're just not going to just go around just acting crazy and just nobody ain't going to say anything. I mean, somebody going to try to check you in one way or another.
Definitely.
But by the time you meet some of these family members, they've been unchecked for so long, then the next thing you know, you can't talk with them.
That's the thing, because
Can't say a word to them.
Because when they get to that point where they're doing stuff, you can't say nothing, because then if you say something to them, they feel offended, and now it's gonna be a problem. Now y'all got beef or you're arguing because you tried to say something about what they did, and they don't think you can. Who are you to tell me what to do? But y'all supposed to be family. Y'all supposed to be able to, you know what I'm saying, talk. But people don't. I don't know. It's weird. People don't like to hear the truth, like about themselves, even if it's true.
Even if it's something that's going to help them.
Yeah.
Because people don't care about that. And that brings me to another point. And I think one of the things why family is distant is drugs. Whether it be over-the-counter drugs, whether it be prescription drugs, whether it be street drugs. They're all drugs. You have a lot of people on different type of medications, and people don't understand how taking medication can alter your way of thinking.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so when you're dealing with someone who's been, like, you got to take, for instance, they used to try to get my mom to give us Ritalin back in middle school, but she refused to do it. Had she gave me Ritalin over the years, that would have affected me mentally.
Yeah.
Because I would have been taking this drug from middle school, probably high school, and beyond.
Yeah.
And so now I would have become addicted to this drug. And we looking at it as something that's good, not understanding what it's doing mentally. So you have that going on in families now. You have more people dealing with drugs, but using drugs. And so it's like when you talking to somebody and you looking and you trying to figure out what's wrong with them, you don't know they've been taking these drugs for all this time, and that's why they in this zombie-like state. So you have a lot of that, and I think that has played a part in families being distanced too. And a lot of these people don't understand the effect that the drugs have had on them. Yeah. So they don't even see it's a problem.
Yeah.
That adds into what we were saying about the outside things affecting the families and breaking them apart. Because we need to start seeing things for how they really are. When you go to the doctor, if you have any little problem, they trying to give you medicine for it. Your head hurt, take this medicine, Just any other thing that happens, they trying to give you medicine, pain medicine, sleep medicine, this medicine, that medicine. But they medicine, like you said, a drug. It affects the brain. It makes it the body do certain things in a certain way. I have friends that had situations and they told them to get on some pills or to make them calm down, or when they have ADHD, they need to take pills for that. And they said that when they took the drugs, it just made them feel like
a zombie.
A zombie. Yeah, that's the main thing I hear is a zombie. So we need to start. Why are we listening to these doctors and we know that everybody should know about Dr. Sebi or all the natural remedies that can help with the things that we have problems with, not just straight to medicines that's going to be drugs that leave long-lasting problems. And I mean, it's pretty obvious too, because I know y'all see the commercials about medicine. They be like, take this medicine, it helps with this, that, and the other. And then at the end of the commercial, they say, it also causes nausea, brain, your stomach aches. You could die. And I'm like, what am I taking the medicine for to get all the other symptoms?
But at least they're being honest. They're telling you. Yeah. They're not lying about it. So it's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reality of it is that they disclose these things with very low music, and so it's just like, what did they say? I could lose
Yeah,
a
they
toe.
like it got happy music.
It's upbeat music when they're selling you the drug, but when they're telling you about the side effects, they go very low on it, almost like a whisper. This may take you out.
Exactly.
You may lose a toe.
Yeah.
Let's cut the commercial.
Yeah.
See, it's just crazy like that. I think, even in my own situation, where I think about that whole Ritalin thing, right?
Yeah.
People start using Ritalin when they took away recess.
Yeah.
The child does not need Ritalin. The child needs recess. You got to be able to take some time and break up in classes, get out there, swing on the monkey bars, run around school, get some of that energy out.
Yeah.
But people don't do that. My own brother, I would say that I have an older brother, and he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. Mm-hmm. And when he was actually put into a psychiatric hospital, it made him worse than what he was when he went in.
Yeah.
So he went in sort of a little bit upbeat, and he was there for a couple of years, and the next thing you know, he was like a zombie.
Yeah.
And he's never come out of that state.
Yeah.
That's been
I'm
over
pretty sure
20
they drug
years.
him while he there too.
Oh, yes.
Because then, you get put in a situation, in an area like that. How are you supposed to bounce back when everything reminds you that you have that problem, or you this or that? Because they say the mind is everything.
Oh,
if
yeah.
if you believe something, it becomes your whole reality.
You're a patient.
Yeah.
And they made him a patient. And any time you're giving drugs, the truth of the matter is they're experimental drugs, no matter what people say. Yeah. We don't know what
'Cause
these things will do over the long run.
And then every drug don't affect everybody the same. 'Cause
Not
we
at
got
all.
different, like, DNA. It's like just different. It'll affect us differently.
If you put some medicine in a 500-pound man, it's going to take a couple of days before it even reach him.
Yeah.
But if you put it in a 98-pound woman, who knows? It could get to her heart almost instantly.
Yeah. Definitely.
So I think part of the breakup of the family too is that, again, we don't have our own remedies.
Yeah.
We sort of look outside. When you talk about drugs, I think that's a very, very, very big key.
Yeah.
But the challenge becomes also is that the internet, social media is a drug.
Yeah.
It has the same dopamine release as if you were taking a antidepressant or anti-anxiety medicine. Every scroll of social media literally releases dopamine.
Yeah, and that is also.
And that is addictive. Mm-hmm. Try to ask somebody to get off their phone. It's a fight.
It's a fight. But you know what? Just made me think about when you was just talking about the drugs. That also goes back to Big Mama, because she had the remedies.
Sure.
Big Mama was the one. You got to burn here. Let me put this on it. You got a stomach ache. Let me give you this. It was always something natural that Big Mama had somewhere. She might have it up under her pillow. She might have it up under her bed, but she had something natural to give you whenever you was feeling ill.
And when you say Big Mama, are you talking about like that figure, or are you talking about the actual like people's grandmas?
The grandma.
Okay.
Basically, the Big Mama's the matriarch of the family.
Yeah, because I know you know some people but you talking about majority.
Yeah, I'm talking about basically it was everybody's grandma. Because like he said, back then grandmas was 60 years old.
Yeah.
They wasn't being 37, 38 being a grandma, still trying to figure out how to be a parent. Now you're a grandma. Right. You know, so that's what by the time they 60, they have experienced so much in life, and now they're transitioning to a new life where they just all about being nurturers, nurturing the whole family. So when you took the Big Mama out, you took out the nurture, and then you brung in the drugs. Mm-hmm. And now the drugs have become basically replaced Big Mama, and so to speak, you know, because like I said, everything we just discussed, everybody would call Big Mama. Like say me and you was brothers, and we got into an argument or something. At some point during the day, you're going to call, Grandma, I just had a fight, and then later on, I'm calling too. But by the time we both got off the phone with Big Mama, she done made us realize we was just fighting for nothing. Yeah. And now when we see each other, it's like nothing never happened. We just back friends. We just back cool. You know, and that's what real love was about, to be able to bring family together.
Most of that was more common back then.
Yeah, it was way more common back when we was growing up because, like I said, my grandma on my mom's side, she was a cusser, but she also showed you so much love. See, Big Mama, her food was her loving.
Yeah.
She love you with her food because she can have you something hot. You just and I don't care what she was going through. When she put that plate on the table, you forgot about all that, and you was just happy to be in her presence and get some of that knowledge. And now we don't have that. That's why when we go back home, sometimes I go to the elders and I hang out with them because they keep that essence of that still alive with their stories and the things that happen in their lives, and I'd be interested in hearing those things because just like when me and you sit down and talk, and you be just like all ears when I'm telling you about the past, you be really engaged in the conversation. So it's good to have that. I think that is it's like a mental exercise too. It kind of helps build the mind too because it makes you feel a part of something, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So yeah.
And I think part of the other deal is why there's a lot of distance in families is because people just don't live around each other much anymore. Yeah. I mean, when Big Mama was there, pretty much multiple generations lived in the same town around the same area. Yeah. But now you got to jump on a plane or a train or drive, throughout the night to try to get to somebody. And when you get there, you don't really know if you're going to have a room to sleep in when you get there. I mean,
if you want to sleep in that room, you might not want to. Because I remember you was telling me about an experience you had. I mean,
oh yeah, it was terrible. I mean, I don't care if my cousins hear this; it's all good. But I'm just telling you, I ain't seen my cousins in years, and I try to go visit them, and the next thing you know, they had me put in a compromised position. I didn't even have a place to sleep. That just tells me that they're not homes welcoming family members is what I'm saying. That there's no real place to be welcomed is what I'm saying. So
that's true because if we have some guys, get out your room, they come in, you got to give your room up.
We always did that.
Well, I got to give my room up, but you know what? It's family, so it is what it is.
But if people just laying around all the time, they ain't prepared to get no family members coming into town.
No.
Yeah.
See, and so you have to fight that. And I think that's part of the real challenge is that, again, we don't make any preparations for families. We have literally more lines of communication open to us now than we've ever had before.
And we're more distant.
And we're more distant.
That's
I
crazy.
mean, we got more lines.
Wow.
Everybody got a phone. Everybody's got a phone.
Yeah, and that's, I think, like you said before, that might be the
Internet.
biggest thing that's tearing families apart is like the phones, technology, the network, because I know back in the day when I was with my sons, we had a lot of kids in the house. It was like six of us at one time. So we didn't have no phones really back then. So we was figuring out what can we do, go outside, just do random stuff.
Gotta need a phone.
Yeah, because we made our own fun, go to the creek or play kickball. Like, I don't know if people my age, 2003 babies, if y'all had the experience of playing outside with your neighbors and having like a kickball in a cul-de-sac and just doing random stuff like that, or playing tag or hide and go seek. We was outside a lot, and that made us get closer together with each other just from the little experiences we had. But now if you bored, you could just get on your phone, go in your room, and be in there for really, if you didn't have to eat and get water for a week, probably just watching videos, watching Netflix, doing that and the other, and that you get less close with family because you don't have no
sense of reality.
Your sense of reality is going out the window, and then you don't have the ability to communicate.
Yeah, you're not making memories with them because you're not spending time with them. You're just looking at your phone. So once you aren't as connected with them because you're not having that time together or the memories, you just won't care as much about family. It's like they could be anybody else.
Well, and in most of the conversation in most families, I think even if people are physically distant, I think most of the conversations are just superficial anyway. Yeah. You don't really touch on anything that really touches on anything. You might talk about what's on TV or whatever the case may be, but you're not really asking questions about how you're doing, what's going on with you, what's your mental state, what you're struggling with, what you want to celebrate. None of those things. It's just basically superficial.
And that's what I've made sure I don't get involved. Like, I rarely have superficial conversations with people because if we're not talking about something, we're not really gonna talk at all. Because I don't like doing I don't like the automated talking, like, hey, how you doing? I'm doing good, and then that's it. If we talking, I'm gonna ask you, like, you know, what's been going on, what you been through, what happened this time, or that's why I like even with my cousin,
Yeah.
like we didn't talk as much, but now we're talking even more because, you know, we talk about what we got going on, and he tell me this, that, and the other, and I be like, okay, just I'll be helping him out in certain ways, and then even he helped me out sometimes, even though I don't know it, or you know, I realize how me talking to him is helping the both of us.
Helping, exactly.
Exactly. So, but I said to say like, I just make sure I'm not wasting my time when I'm talking to people if we're not gonna talk about something real. And so I usually, only when I talk with people, usually even if it's random people, we get to talking about something that's more than just, you know,
Chit chat.
yeah, chit chat. They talk about something real.
So I wanted to ask you, in your practice,
Yep.
what are some of the things that you see as far as family issues that's almost common now? I know you mentioned the community with social media and stuff, but
Yeah, social media is a very big thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is that there's oftentimes people just don't have any kind of like common ground around discipline.
Yeah.
You know, maybe one person want to discipline the child in one way, one person want to discipline the child in another way.
Yeah.
You see that all the time. I mean, there's really an uptick in violence in families, the way people talk up to each other. I mean, physical violence. I mean, it's a uptick in that, physical violence, verbal violence. People just kind of, the bottom line of it is that people tend to treat people out on the street better than they treat their own families.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think, you know, also I think that ties into like we were saying about the internet. Like people are, I feel like, scared to do certain things because they're afraid of the public's eye, or like, even though it might not be public, they're still thinking about like if you whoop your kid or this, that, and the other. Not saying that you should or you shouldn't, but people, if they don't discipline them like by giving them whoopings, they don't know how to do something else, like or talk to them. Because how do you get a grown up that hasn't really figured out themselves to go ahead and talk to their kid and actually have like a helpful conversation if they never got that from their parents?
Oh,
So
sure.
how do they do that for them if they don't even know how to do it?
and then I think part of the other big deal about this too is that people try to raise kids and raise families based upon models in which they've never even had a chance to develop.
Yeah.
I mean, I just remember when I was raising my kids, I was reading these articles about if you spank a child that it'll make them more prone to violence. That's not true.
No.
I got plenty of whippings.
Yeah.
I ain't prone to violence.
Right.
I mean, I'm prone to discipline,
Yeah.
but I ain't prone to no violence.
Yeah.
Or people say, well, you need to put them in a timeout and talk to them. And one of the things I think that happens a lot too is that families allow kids to be introduced to adult conversations.
Oh.
The kids
Yes,
have no
but-
business trying to figure out how you gonna pay a light bill. That ain't no kid's job.
Yeah.
That's an adult's job.
Yeah.
Or if you got some grown folk business that you want to talk about, they introduce too much of it to the kid.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, if the grown folks talking, I gotta go upstairs or something, or it's just separate. But when when kids get involved in so much stuff that they don't have no business really knowing about,
Yeah.
or like even because they get exposed to it on social media too, and it's like stuff they shouldn't even be thinking about, but since they on social media, or if you on social media around them, and are you just talking freely,
Yeah.
and they hear it, it's just like it affects the way they think about certain things, or how they process other things while growing up.
You put them under pressure,
Oh, yeah.
pressure that they don't necessarily need, and it's not gonna help them in their development. I know when I grew up, and I'm sure probably in the same way with you, folks say you need to stay out of grown folk business.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This does not belong to you.
Go in there and close your door.
Yeah.
Go in your room and close your door. You better not come out here. If you gotta use the bathroom, you better use it now. Because you better not come out here while we out here talking.
Yeah.
That's just what it was. And my son would tell you right now, when it was, I don't have a lot of company, but when I do, hey, look, y'all got to, you know, figure out something to do. They was never around us when they was little children. When it was adults around, they would have to find somewhere to go. They wasn't just sitting around no, you can't do that.
No, you cannot.
Because it's gonna be, even the music, I was so used to be I remember we riding around one time. It's me, Ronald, and a couple of other children. We were riding around listening to Run DMC. Remember we used to be playing that, you blind and you can't see. You know And we was messing with Amy and we was saying, wear some glasses like Amy. Yeah. But I had him listening to old school rap. Like one of his favorite songs right now is from an LL Cool J
You talking about that
album.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's you talking about?
And it's from 1989. He wasn't even born then.
Oh,
but
wow.
he loved that song. He listened to everything because I didn't just, have him around this genre of music. I would listen to Red Hot Chili Peppers, and people would be like, what the heck?
Yeah, I think that might be another big one is the music because
the
when
music,
kids, because I think the parents nowadays are so young that they don't like the discipline and stuff like you said is not really there or they just doing anything with their kid around their kids because they don't know. So when they play the music, the kids start listening to it. They might start saying some of the words that's in the song, and then they think that it's okay for them to say that around anybody, or they don't understand what is really going on. They just listening to music and saying it back what they hear. And I don't get how people just think it's all right for kids to just and then the type of music that's out right now.
See, I think again that's what kind of hits the family like a torpedo too, where parents used to control music.
Yeah.
They put the music on the stereo, turn it on the TV. But now parents don't control music.
The kids do.
If you give them a phone, they usually look at whatever they want to look at. So how you gonna control that?
I think they don't. I think they control it to a certain degree, but they don't monitor because they playing what the kids. They playing the same stuff the kids is listening to.
Of course.
Like they don't got at least put the clean version in, even though it's gonna sound horrible. But they will play the same music that the kids that you don't want the younger ones anyway listening to. Like kids 12 and 11. Like I done been around people and even just smoking cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
Like it tells you, just like we're talking about the matters, on the box of cigarettes, it says it can cause cancer and all this other stuff. So that's okay if you want to do it to yourself.
Yeah.
But don't smoke in the house around the children because you're not giving them a choice. You're actually not giving them a choice at living. You're tearing their lungs up, and it's like, why would you do that when you can go right outside? If you want to smoke, go outside and smoke. If you want to listen to certain music, don't do it around your children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you? People just don't really understand. Like, I just see kids, they nose running. They always sick. Because people smoking these damn cigarettes around these children, and they're so young, and they haven't even, their bodies are still developing. Their lungs haven't even matured. So they breathing in this toxins, and then you wondering why their nose always running. Because I just never got that. I never understood that. Like you in the car hot boxing with a cigarette this long with kids in the back seat. Like really?
Yeah.
You don't even give them a choice? Like you're taking that choice away from them because you're the adult? Like that's crazy to me. I really never understood that.
And the kids, I mean, and the reality of it is that the kids, they do follow what the parents do. Whether we like it or not, they are following along the way. And the truth of the matter is that I'll just give you an example. Like, if you think about it, up until about 1960, 75, the percentage of black families that had a man and a woman in the home was about 86%. That's up to 1975.
Yeah.
Beyond 1975, it's roughly about 23% of homes have a man and a woman in the home. A father and a mother in the home raising kids. And if you think about that, you have to think about the level of destruction and disruptiveness that takes to happen. Since 75, for all this time now, over 150 years, 200, 300 years in slavery, folk were trying to be together.
Yeah.
After 1975, people trying to be apart.
Yeah.
You having divorce celebration parties when you got kids.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous thing.
Yeah. But that's probably in the top 3, what you just said, as far as why families are distant because of the lack of a father in the home.
Yes.
There's a lot of single parent mothers out there. who have to be masculine and feminine.
Yes.
And that's just a balance that is gonna be hard to balance. Being masculine and feminine, like that's hard for one person to do, let alone just a woman to constantly have to be the father and the mother over and over and over again. You're gonna have a situation where families could just do like this. And now as the child gets older, maybe they resent their father, so now that carries on into their adult relationship. And now you have another family, and then the cycle continues and continues and continues. So I think, yeah, that was it. I'm surprised we didn't say that in the beginning, but that is very big.
It's a very big issue. And even when when they divorce,
Yeah,
they're in conflict when they divorce.
yeah,
And so that impacts the child and how people get access to the child. They fuss over money, they fuss over resources, all that kind of stuff. And it just doesn't give the child a fair chance. I mean, and if you look at it, I was going to say too, if you look at it, when you're talking about a single mother,
yeah,
for people like it or not, they can do some incredible things. But it's just absolutely hard for a single mother to raise kids on her own because of the resources that's required. You're trying to feed mouths, you're trying to discipline people, you're trying to keep everything held together, and then you have people who take advantage of that.
yeah.
You have a lot of men in and out of the house, and I mean that stacks up after a while.
Yeah.
And it leaves you really paralyzed.
Yeah.
You don't really know what is a good nature, what is a good relationship.
Yeah.
I'm seeing all these transient relationships going on, and I don't have any stability.
Yeah, definitely. But with the whole divorce thing,
Yes.
you know, with the parents not getting together, it could go either one or it can go more than one or two. But the basics is you can work it out for the kid and just be cordial, or just do what you need to do for the kid, or y'all can make it a problem and go back and forth. Because I know with my mom, when she started talking to my little brother's dad, they had a whole situation where he came back and had stole her car, and we was out without a car for like a little while. We would have to literally walk from the house to a Walmart that was like a couple miles away, and then bring groceries back on a cart that we took it from the thing and bring it back to the house. But we had a whole situation where one of his exes helped us get the cart. Like, it was like, I'm not gonna go to all of it, but basically we finessed the car back to get it for my mom. Like, had him meet up somewhere, and he thought it was the other person. Then she jumped in the car and had to skirt off with the car. And it's like, why do all that when you have a kid? Like, you have a kid together, and like, I mean, obviously he shouldn't have stole the car. So like, but what I'm trying to say is, you could go that way, or you could try to work it out. But
Well, I think part of the deal is, and this is where it is, I mean, the numbers don't lie, that 53% of first marriages end in divorce. That's just fact. I mean, and roughly about 67% of second marriages end in divorce. And then that number even gets higher when you're talking about a third marriage. What I like to believe is, from what I've seen in my own practice, is people don't realize that it takes a certain kind of maturity in order to be in a relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And so when people get the fussing and fighting and stealing and disrupting, all that is immaturity coming out.
Yep.
If you have a child, you need to step up and be responsible for that child.
Yeah.
You may not like the person, but that doesn't mean you have to disrespect the person, and you don't have to disrespect the child.
Oh, for sure.
You don't have to do that.
No, you don't got to, you definitely don't want to do that, because that was something that I definitely didn't want to do with my children and their mom. Seeing us argue or seeing us go back and forth, I'd rather for us to be on the same page and get along than to get it on, because the kids it's just a traumatic experience for them.
Totally.
And all they gonna do is they grow up, they gonna relive that scene in their head, like, oh, dad and mom was it's just too much. And then it's like, all that energy, I could have did something positive with that energy.
Yes, you could have.
And it's like, we'll put so much energy into something negative, then when it comes to something positive, we get lazy.
People encourage it, though.
Tired. You know?
People encourage it. I mean, they encourage laziness. You don't have to work at anything. You know, you want to get rid of them, just get rid of
That's a
them.
common thing nowadays. People always just catering towards people not being okay, or just like I don't know what to say, but it's like, if you know you're doing something wrong, the public will tell you, it's okay, but it's less of people holding people accountable for what they're doing. So you got more people thinking it's okay to just
Do whatever they want to do.
yeah, because they know that it's you'll be babied by the public or this, that, and the other, or you just it's less like you're not more eager to try to get it right because you're not gonna be seen a certain way because everything's accepted. So
It's a lack of responsibility. I mean, if you have a child, I don't care if you hate the woman or hate the man, you still have a responsibility to make sure that child is taken care of, which means that you need the resources of every person in that home. I tell people all the time, if you decide to get a divorce, that's fine. But you want the husband and the wife to be as healthy as they possibly can. You don't want to tear them down. You go to court, you tear them down. Now they somewhere trying to scrap and scrape to get themselves together. How they gonna be showing up for the family at that point?
right, and that's not even saying that everything always got to be good because
No.
my dad and they argue sometimes. I've seen it, but it was never to the point where they could never talk again or it would something traumatic happen or something like that. Because of course they're gonna argue, but everybody argues.
Oh, sure, of course.
It's just overall the main thing is to be take care of the kid.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, it's like he say, me and his mom might have a difference of opinion. And
Happens.
I might be like, man, your mom, but and he laughed, so it's like, yeah, we just had a argument, whatever you want to call it, but it wasn't nothing traumatic.
Yeah.
It was something like he might be like, oh, Dad, I don't want to hear, or he might laugh, or I might call the sister and be like, ooh, your mom,
Yeah.
and they laugh about it. So it's like over the years we've learned how to parent without creating unnecessary BS.
Oh, yeah.
Because why?
Because
at the end of the day, we have a job to do. And
Very
these
serious
kids don't
job.
give a damn about us not getting along.
A very serious
That's
job.
not their problem.
No,
we
it's
got
not.
to figure that out. In the meantime, they need their parents.
Absolutely.
So, are you gonna be a parent? Or are you gonna be bitter? Or are you gonna be angry? And you gonna do what the topic is and keep the family distance?
And the fact of the matter is that people have to understand that when you get in a relationship, you give up some things.
Yeah.
And when you marry someone, you give up a lot of rights.
Yeah.
You don't get a chance to be as free as you want to be when you're married to someone.
Yeah.
You have responsibilities and you have loyalties that you have to stick to. But again, when a person is telling you that it's okay to do anything you want to do with no consequences whatsoever, then it just says, you know what, go anywhere you want to go, do anything you want to do. Family really has no control over you.
I want to go back to something you said earlier that really, that's really powerful. You said that families treat people that are not family better than they treat family.
Yes.
And that's something that I definitely, me myself, see so much. I see that a lot where people, even within my family, will treat someone that's not their family
Yes.
better than they treat their own family. And if you were to ask them, they really couldn't give you a good reason.
No.
And I used to be like wonder, but to me, and I'm gonna ask your opinion since you are, this is what you do for a job. But I want to ask you, when people do that, is it because of something that they're lacking within themselves?
Well, I think that's what it is on a lot of levels too, because part of the reason why people, like I always ask people, I say, hey, look, like I had a man once, he choked his wife.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just crazy to think that he would choke his wife, right?
Yeah.
But I said, would you choke your customers? No, I wouldn't choke my customers. Why not? Because I lose my job. So it's okay to choke your wife, do not have your kids, and you can lose her,
Yeah.
but you don't want to lose your customer.
Wow.
So what I think about is that the frustrations that people endure at work or wherever they go, they just bring that junk back home and take it out on other people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lack of dealing with it in a healthy way,
Of course.
and then when you let it build up, it'll come out in ways you don't want it to come out. But I also think that with the whole situation with treating family better than strangers, I think it depends on the situation. Because I know some family ain't your real, you got family that's not family for real. Like when I mean what I say that is, if we family, you can't just say just because we family, I'm just supposed to treat you a certain type of way. Well,
Yeah.
what I mean is if you my family, then you should be looking out for me and I should be looking out for you. But if you're not doing that, or you treat me a certain way or this, that, and other, I'm not just finna be okay and be cool with you and just say, because you family, you good with disrespecting me or treat me this type of way. So I can see how if you like cut them off because of certain situations, how you might be treating the other one, somebody else, different, a stranger. But it depends. I guess it just depends.
No, it depends, but like that's why I asked him. See, that's why I said, well, if you ask that person, why do they do that, and they can't even tell you why, is there a problem with them? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if you don't have a reason to do this, that's a problem. Yeah. Now, if your family is mistreating you and treating you like a stranger, then of course you're gonna become more committed to someone else in a relationship, friendship, or whatever the case may be. But when you have no reason to, that is a problem. That is an issue because why? Why are your reasons? Now, being with our situation, we're so far away from family. We came to a state in the city where there was no family. Yeah. So of course you're gonna have a relationship with your friends. Mm-hmm. That's understandable. But still, even when you have it's a phone, like he said, we got more ways to communicate now than we ever have, and we don't use them always for the proper good.
I ain't gonna lie, that affected me kind of weirdly with the phones because when I was hanging out with my cousins back when I was younger, we did, like you said, we didn't have phones. When I left them, there was no communication. So now, like when I have my phone, or back when I first was, getting my phone, kind of like high school years, my mom would ask me why I haven't called my cousins. It's just like I wasn't used to being able to call my cousins. I was just like, the anticipation of waiting to see them and then being like, oh, happy that I get to spend time with them now. But then when I leave, I can't talk to them. Like I didn't realize that. I got a phone. I could just call them, and that just didn't cross my head. I don't know why, but I just was used to that habit of going to see them, then not being able to talk, then going to see them, and that's just how.
You got to think too. Like you just turned 20.
Yeah.
so everything we talking about, you was 12 and 13 and 14. Like it ain't like you was 28 and like, hey, why you talking? You a grown, but you can't put too much responsibility on a teenager. No. At the same time, because you're still trying to figure out who you are. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but and I agree with you. It's like back in the day, but you move heaven and earth to try to talk to somebody on the phone, though. Yeah. I mean, you 12 years old, you want to talk to somebody on the phone. We didn't have a phone. Yeah. I had to go to a phone booth. Yeah. So.
And had to steal some change off the table to get on the phone.
I mean, I had to get a dime from somewhere to try to make a phone call so I could talk to somebody. Mm-hmm. I mean, but now you can shoot a text, you can shoot an email, you can look at video, FaceTime. You can FaceTime, you can call them. You have all kind of ways. But I think there's a certain kind of suspicion. Yeah. That's between family members. Yeah. Like, what does this person want from me? If I call them,
they gonna want
something.
But this is the thing though, like I was telling somebody, when it comes to family, right?
They gonna want something.
Even when you come together, say you come to a family reunion. A family, or let's say you don't like this particular family member, or maybe it's a couple of them. I don't know. Yeah. Don't allow those couple people to keep you away from the rest of the family. Yeah. Because you might have a family together, a family reunion. I'm coming. Even if me or one of my siblings or one of my cousins, even if we're not talking or something going on, I'm not going to let that distract me away from the good people in my family, because I got elders in my family. Yes. And I'm not, it's going to be a time when they're not going to be here. So I'm not going to miss the opportunity to spend some time with them because of somebody who's ignorant. I'm not going to do that. We can't allow that type of energy to keep us away from people who need that. Like I was telling you, when you talk to elders, that does something for them. Like they want to be heard. They want you to listen to them, especially now because back in the day, they was well respected. Now they don't feel that same way. Yeah. They feel like people don't even care about me. I'm left out. We going to nursing homes. Big Mama was in the back room. She didn't go to no nursing home. Now because we so caught up in our relationships and we chasing this man or we chasing this woman that we didn't just lost a whole like the whole idea of what family truly is,
Yeah.
because we caught up in our own illusion.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. Like family, like to me, is so distant now. Even within my own family, it's like sometimes I don't even know who I'm looking at.
And I think part of that whole thing is that just like Ron said, hey, look, you building a certain kind of life,
Yeah.
and you don't want to risk your life fooling around with somebody that you don't really know.
Yeah.
Like if I go back and I visit a cousin I ain't seen in 10 years, I don't know what they've been up to for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And I don't want to risk anything in my life just kind of showing up, and they may be into some things that I'm not into.
Yeah.
So I would say that if you're going to reconnect with someone, you might want to do it on a gradual basis,
Yeah.
because you don't really know what people are up to.
Yeah.
I mean, so you can wake up one day and find yourself in a situation not really knowing, hey man, how did I get here? All I was doing is coming to visit my cousin Tyrone, and the next thing you know, I'm caught up.
That's why you gonna speak to them elders.
Yeah.
They gonna say, well, why you here? Don't
Yeah.
go with them elders, Tyrone. He's saying something. You go speak to them elders, man, because they gonna tell you
Yeah.
what's going on.
That's
Like
true.
he
Because
said,
yeah,
everybody split up now in different areas, so you can't just ain't nobody close to each other really.
They're just not any close.
But-
They're not
but
close.
the elders, like even like your nana, you hear when your nana call me, she give me the rundown on everything that's going on.
Yeah, because that's they don't that often nobody move from there. Everybody stay
But I'm
there.
just saying, regardless, everybody, even then, everybody still ain't gonna tell you what's going on.
No.
Regardless of how small, whatever going on. Like your nana is, if I don't hear from your nana 9 times out of 10, I don't know what's going on. So it's good that she's telling me these different things. So when I do come in town, okay, I know I might not want to be over in this area. I might not want to see these people, because even when I go back, that's what I do. I go spend time with my mom.
Yeah.
I go see like the elders. I go see my Aunt Nancy from time to time. I go see my Uncle Joe from time to time. I sit on the porch with him for about 2-3 hours. And it was just amazing, the conversation, because here he is, like 80 years old. And he's standing up straight and he's talking to me and he's telling me about stuff that happened in the 50s, 60s, even before I was born. And I'm just sitting there soaking this all up. And it felt empowering. Like I felt like, getting all this information and like always, your dad, they stayed here and we stayed right here and, learn all these different things. It's just, to me, I love to hear those type of stories. And he telling me also, like, yeah, this, telling me what other people doing. Like, yeah, you don't want to be around these people.
Yeah.
Them elders know. They always know. I don't know how they know.
Nah, they know. They been
what's
watching.
going on in their community. So,
And a lot of times too, just like you said, that when I grew up, I didn't grow up with any grandparents.
Yeah.
I had my grandparents were dead before I was born. So I never had grandparents.
Yeah.
But there was some big mamas in the neighborhood
Yeah.
that were like grandmothers, and they treated me just that way.
Yeah.
The thing of it today is that a lot of times, again, people are so focused in on what they want for themselves without even considering what other people need, even in the family.
Yeah.
That I got what I want, so therefore,
And that's why I think like, what do you do about the people that, you say everybody changed, but some people really just don't change. And I mean, they change, but they never really change. Like, they always do the same thing. You can go years without talking to them, then you come back, and it's still the same stuff going on. And I'm not saying everybody got to be on the same wave I'm on and doing the same things I do, but when the same person is having the same problems, like, okay, don't change. You don't want to change. You want to keep doing what you're doing, but then you complaining about this. You have these problems. You're not happy. You sad. This, that, and other. But you still don't want to change. But I'm like, what I'm trying to say is, what do you do do you just cut them off, or like, if somebody don't change, not want to change?
Yeah, I mean, you can't force a person to change. I mean, what I will say, and I've said this many times before, that I don't care if you're husband, wife, son, daughter, there's a basic level of respect that need to go across that relationship.
Yeah.
And if that respect is not there, then you have every right not to subject yourself to that person or to those people all the time. You're not going to be fussed out and cussed out and, attacked just because you're doing something different in your life and people want to make you feel bad because of that or whatever the case may be. just as we have no right to judge a person's life in terms of things they're doing that we may not agree with. There's a basic level of respect that should take place, and sometimes it's just necessary in order not to be associated with those folks.
Oh, definitely.
And it's okay.
And you grow apart. And
Totally.
Sometimes you grow together, and sometimes you grow apart. But I do want to say, I want to hit a few things before we get up out of here. We spoke on so many different things of why the family is distance. I wanted to ask you, what are some of the things that can help families come together?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I think first and foremost, it's like anything. You have to make a decision to do it.
Yeah.
You have to say that I want to do this.
Yeah.
No one's going to force me to do this,
Yeah.
but you may say, you know what, there's a cousin that I have in wherever that I know that I just have not developed that relationship the way I want to. Someone make a decision to do something about that.
Yeah.
Or you might make a decision to figure out, hey, who's even in my family? I mean, so that's one of the first things that you have to make a decision that you want to be family.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out the next thing I think that will probably be very helpful in that whole process is to kind of touch bases with the people who want the same things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you're trying to move towards the family and there are people that's rejecting that whole invitation, no need to keep beating your head up against the wall. Go with the people who want family too.
Yeah, definitely.
And so you have to realize too that there's going to be some growing edges along the way, because where you are and where they are, they're going to have to learn how to build trust with you, and you're going to have to learn how to build trust with them.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
What would you say? What you think? Some good ways of
Well, I mean, I think he hit it right on the point. I think if there's people out there that's watching this and they've been thinking or have a feeling about reaching out to that family member or that person or whoever you thought about while watching this podcast, you should reach out to them, try to say something, and just see how it goes from there. Just take that initiative to go ahead and reach out to them, because I mean, you're watching this, so I think this is a sign for you to go ahead and try to rekindle a family relationship.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I would say something that I think would be really big for everybody that's having, and not necessarily problems, because I don't want to say problems, but just the distance. Because some people are okay. Yeah. Some people are not okay with having their family distance, but it's not like they don't necessarily have to hate each other. You have some of that going on, but I would say therapy would be something that everybody should take a look into doing and not be ashamed. You should be embracing that, to be able to sit down and talk to someone like all the people that's watching. I mean, I don't care where you at. You got, like he said, there's so many ways to communicate. If you need a real therapist, somebody who can help change your life, you can reach out to Dr. Michael Cook, because he's very good at what he do. So if you need therapy, or you want to talk to someone and you want to make a change, then just reach out to this brother right here, and I'm sure that he can help you move in a positive manner going forward. So I would say therapy. What you think about that?
I think it's absolutely correct. I mean, because when you're trying to be family, you're recovering from a whole lot of things inside that family. Things that were there before you even were born into the family. And so you're trying to make up for things that people have not even resolved themselves. So you need to take time to really think about, man, you know, what family was I born into? What things were unresolved? And how is that being transferred into the way in which I'm family? So I think that's a very big thing. The other thing I think that might be very helpful too is most families are what I call fractured, distant, and it generally, a lot of times it's over just small stuff that people just have not forgiven. You know, you didn't call me on my birthday, just petty stuff. I mean, you know, you ain't send me a card. I mean, at the funeral, you ain't let me say something. I mean, just little stuff like that. So if you're going to come back to your family, you got to come get real with yourself and figure out, what am I holding on to? What grudges am I holding on to that's going to prevent me from being able to get back with my family? And if I can forgive them of that and kind of go forward.
I also would like to say, if you all are watching this and you have any questions, y'all should put it in the comments, and, you know, maybe next time we get him on here, we can go through the questions y'all asked and, you know, let him know, and we can just go through the questions y'all put in the comments and have a conversation about that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I want to say something too. I love my family. I really do. But at the same time, I didn't choose my family.
No, you didn't.
You know what I mean? I did not choose my family. I was born into my family. Had I had the option to choose, some of the people that my family probably wouldn't even be my family. Because I probably, and that's no disrespect, but I probably wouldn't have chose some of them.
Of course not.
You know
Of
what
course
I mean?
not.
So I was
Somebody-
just like, we got to understand, like, so stop walking around with your nose up in the air.
Yeah,
Stop walking around with your butt cheeks tight.
yeah.
Like you better than somebody because we didn't choose you.
No, we
We
did
were
not.
born into this family. So since we were born into this family, let's just try our best to make it work. And if it can't work, that's okay. We don't have to be angry. We can be distant and still have a mutual respect for one another.
Absolutely.
And that's something I don't see families doing. Like we might not, hey, you know, me and my son, and hey, we vegans. Everybody ain't down with that. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
We don't eat meat. Y'all do. So what?
Yeah.
That don't mean that we can't, hey, hang out and still be friends and still be family. It's like we'll let some of the littlest things
Yep.
keep us apart. And then everybody show up at the funeral talking all this mess. I can't hear you now.
Right.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
So while we here, because we living like we're gonna be here forever, while we here, let's be happy. If we do come in contact with each other and we not having the best relationship, it don't mean that we got to have that tension. You know, where everybody can kind of tell what's going on. You and Uncle Phil ain't. No,
Yeah.
Uncle Phil crazy. You know, that ain't me. You know what I mean? So stop playing victim. Stop making it seem like you're being attacked or somebody don't care about you or somebody don't like you. Just own up, be accountable. And that way we can fix whatever it is going on within the family. You got to be accountable.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I've been on the wrong end of things and I'm okay with saying that. And sometimes this person or these people, they've been on the wrong end of things. It's okay. Who cares? Just take accountability, move on. Because those things don't even exist anymore. Like we was having that conversation about the past. The past no longer exists.
Correct.
It's gone. It's happened. So it only lives through your mind. You allow it to live. Like, give you an example. Someone said something about me on social media. Something very negative. And people was like, calling me like, hey, you see what this dude said about you? And I said, yeah. And they wonder I ain't do nothing. Because the only way it's going to survive is if I give it legs to run on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give it no energy. Why would I give that any energy? He said it, it's done, it's gone.
Sure.
Guess what? By me not saying nothing ever came about it. Because I know
'Cause that's what they're hoping
this
for.
person is miserable. They looking for some type of engagement. You're not going to get it out of me because I'm confident in who I am. It might have been a time where you would have caught me where my self-confidence was low and I didn't realize that's why I was reacting to certain things because
Yeah.
I couldn't embrace who I truly was. And then you might have got something out of me. But once I came into being like the authority over me and the way I think and the way I move and act, no, you're not going to get that out of me. So as far as the family goes, therapy, accountability, and just letting go.
Yeah. And I think people have to realize too, that when you're talking about you have these distances in your family,
Yeah.
you're going to likely to try to fill those up with other things. Mm-hmm. You're going to try to fill it up with work, drugs, money, whatever the case may be. Women.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. If something is not connected, it's going to try to find a way to connect to something. And so when it connects to something, it often leads to a lot of pain and suffering.
Yeah.
So this is the family that you have. May not be connected to all of them, but the fact of the matter is, folks have asked me, hey, you know what, if you had to choose your family, I said, man, you know what, I think I've been born 4,000 years ago. I think I've been a Pharaoh's son. I've been sitting around with concubines and people carrying me around all day eating fruit.
With
That's
a
just
whole
me
bunch of
now.
gold
That's
on.
just me now.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, or fortunately, I was born with the family that I have, and I got to make that my own Pharaoh type of situation. So,
And you made it work.
hey, got to make
And
it
that's
work.
the thing, like, you know, making it work regardless of the situation and becoming accountable once you get a certain age, it's no longer on your parents.
No,
It's on me now because whatever they did or whatever they didn't do, now I have the ability to get out and do what I feel like they were lacking.
correct.
I can do it for myself now. So no more pointing the finger. And I want to say this too before we get up out of here. I know, but this family thing, it's a lot of young men out there who really need to take some time out and think, because I know of a few young men who treat their single parent mother like garbage, like trash. She's been the only thing consistent in your life. And when your dad come around after the 20 years later, and now you treat him better than you treat this woman who's been there consistently throughout your whole life. And your dad left you for drugs. He left you for other women. You don't know the pain that he caused your mother. You don't know the times where he may have raped your mom, may have put your mom on drugs, or did all type of wicked things to your mom. And your mom not being the type of person who want to speak ill of him and the things that he's done. You don't even know. She's holding back and not even telling you all the things that he's done to her, just so she won't destroy the image that you have of this man. So a lot of you young men, it's another reason why our families are distant. Stop taking out that negativity on your mom, because she was there for you. No matter if it was hard or not. Because if your dad was there, it wouldn't have been as hard. She was doing whatever she thought she had to do at the time. So don't hold that against her. Let that woman be and move on with your life, and stop being sensitive, and stop turning into the man that she left. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
And I want to end off by saying people need to start realizing that the most valuable thing we have is our connections with each other, because all the material things or the money went, like, what is a mansion if you're in it alone? Like, I don't know if people had an experience where you've been in a big house, or if you're in that house for however long a week, it'll get you, like, it means nothing after so long because you're there alone. Like, when you have all that money and material, what is it without if you don't have nobody to share it with?
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of people, and I'll say this last thing too, is that a lot of people hunger for their families, but their pride keep them away from their family. I'm not going to call them because they haven't called me.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I'm not going to apologize to them because they haven't apologized to me. But it's only hurting you, and it's hurting them because you're carrying around this pain, and you know at the end of the day that in this world, all you have is your family.
That's all.
And people hunger for that, but their pride keeps them away from it. And
Definitely.
I'll just leave it right there.
Well. As always, we have such a beautiful show. I want to thank our guest, Dr. Michael Cook, for stopping by and giving us some of his time. It's very valuable. And like I said, to everyone out there that's listening, that's watching, please, if you have any issues and you want some help, don't hesitate. And if you don't reach out to him, reach out to somebody that can help you get over whatever the trauma you're dealing with, because general health and self-love is all about healing. Whether it's from the past, present, whatever's going on in your life, it's time to heal. It's time to let those wounds go. It's time to let go and move on, because it's a whole nother generation coming up behind us who don't need to go through our trauma. They don't need to live their life through our trauma. So let's heal so they can have a chance at life and grow and to live their life out in the best way possible. So thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. And till next time, peace and love. Take care.